My name is Alexander Stephanou. I'm a business psychologist and I work with Questback as a project manager, advising large companies and enterprises on how to really reap the full potential of employee feedback. So what were the findings of our report? The main finding was that there is a significant gap between the perceived importance and relevance of feedback at a strategic level and what companies actually do. So what did we find more specifically? We found that most of the respondents, almost all respondents, discuss feedback at management meetings. We found that most respondents believe that feedback contributes to the delivery of business strategy, and yet we had most respondents only do employee surveys once a year. Some even only do it once every second year, and less than half use feedback to improve business processes. So we see that people perceive feedback as both important and relevant from a strategic perspective, but when it comes to actually using feedback to improve the way you operate your business, something fairly major is missing. So there is a gap, and the good side of that story is that there is also a massive potential for companies to really capitalize on that gap by becoming more efficient in the way they use feedback. So a good question, of course, in continuation of our findings is, why does this gap between theory and practice exist? I think there are several reasons. First of all, it's compelling to talk about feedback, and it's easy for many people to see that feedback is important to the delivery of your business strategy, but feedback is also difficult to deal with. So asking managers to deal with feedback that might not be very positive can be frightening. Collecting feedback all the time, having data coming in all the time, and translating that data into both value-adding insight and actions is not an easy process. Obviously, you need sophisticated systems and processes and structures that can help you do that. So an advice to companies at this point is to, first of all, really understand where are you, how do you use feedback today, and how would you like to be able to use feedback in 5 years' time, for example. We know that going from an annual survey that is generic and not aligned to your strategy to collecting and using feedback every day is a very big step, and for many organizations it's too big. But it's a good vision, and being able to divide that vision into steps that are easy to overcome and not too overwhelming for your organization is key to really succeed when it comes to working with feedback. So my advice would be to really understand where are you as a business when it comes to collecting and using feedback, and then thinking about what could a next step be, both short-term and long-term. So if you have an annual survey, and the annual survey as is a generic survey with standardized questions, then a potential next step could be to upgrade that, to make it more strategic, align it to your business strategy. Maybe you'll still only do it once a year, and that's completely fine, as long as you have a vision of growing and a vision of doing it more frequently, because we see that if you really want to reap the full potential of feedback, it's not sufficient to only collect it once a year. You have to do it on a more frequent basis.